So 6.4.2, this is our last set of notes for this chapter or for this essential skill. And this is us pulling it all together. Now, as a reminder, there are 3 things that you need to be able to do on this upcoming test. You need to be able to solve graphically. So you have to be able to graph each one of the equations that are given to you, much like the line zapper Desmos that I had you guys do. So you have to be able to graph the lines and identify the solution, which we know is the point of intersection. You must be able to use the elimination method to solve algebraically. Additionally, you must be able to complete word problems. So much like the ones that you guys had in the notes previously, and in your previous assignment, and in that Chapter 6 review assessment that you had yesterday at home. So what I would like you to do, I think that most of us are probably more comfortable with solving algebraically. So I want you to take a look at the system, and I want you to solve it either using substitution or elimination. It's ultimately up to you what method you prefer. Then we can talk about the graphic method as well. If you take a look at this, it looks like I can just add straight down. And the y's are going to disappear right now. I don't think I even need to do any type of multiplication by anything. So I'm just going to add straight down. Add the 2x and the 5x. That gives me 7x. Y's are gone. Negative 9 minus 12 is negative 21. And then let's divide by 7. And this does divide evenly, so we get x is equal to negative 3. Okay, there is the first part of our answer. Remember that we still need to find the y that goes with this. So let's go back to the original equations. Choose the one that you prefer. I think I'm going to go with the first one, only because the majority of the numbers are smaller. So I'll write down that equation. 2x plus 3y equals negative 9. Remember that I solved for x, so make sure that you plug it in for x. So it's going to give me 2, it's my parentheses, plus 3y equals negative 9. Now I know 2 is x is negative 3, so I'll go ahead and plug that in. All right, let's multiply this out. So that gives me a negative 6 plus 3y is equal to negative 9. Now let's solve this equation. I think I'm going to need to move the 6 to the other side. Negative 6 plus 6 disappears. Drop the 3y straight down. Combine those, and that gives me a negative 3. Divide both sides by 3. I know 3 divided by 3 is just 1. That's good. So it looks like y is equal to negative 1. And let's write our solution. It is not a word problem, so we do not have to write it in words. So we're just going to go through and write it as a point. Remember, alphabetic order. X, then y. Okay, there's my answer. But I still need to solve this graphically. There's a couple of ways that you could do this graphically. You can find points that belong on the first line, 2x plus 3y equals negative 9. Plot those points, connect the dots, and that's your line. You can do the same thing with the second one. Or we can take each of these equations and rewrite them as y equals. If I do that, then I can see the slope and the y-intercept directly from the equation. So I think I'm going to do it that way. So let's take a look at the first one. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this guy in blue. And I'll pull that off to the side. So I've got 2x plus 3y is equal to negative 9. So just copying it down. Now from here, I would like to manipulate this equation. so that it is y equals. Okay, to make this y equals, we're going to have to move the x. So I'm going to move the 2x to the other side. That's currently a positive, so I'm going to subtract it. I am not going to put it under the -9. I'm going to put it off to the side. The reason is I cannot put a -9 and a -2x together. They're not like terms. And I know me, if I stack them up underneath each other, then to me that's a visual saying, sure, go ahead, put them together. So I know 2x minus 2x disappears. Everybody else just drops or slides straight down. That's a positive 3y, a -9, and a -2x. All right, we got to get rid of the 3. This 3 is currently being multiplied, so we're going to divide. But if you divide one of them, you have to divide all of them. So everybody gets divided. I know that 3 divided by 3 is 1. So there's my y. Now I'm only going to perform the division if it's actually nice. Otherwise, I don't want to do that. So -9 divided by positive 3, that actually works out pretty nice. That's -3. -2 divided by 3, no, that doesn't work out nice. So I'm just going to leave it as it is. So that's one of my equations, and I color-coded this in blue when I highlighted it, so I'm going to use a blue dot. Looking at the equation, the number that does not have an x attached to it is where I'm going to start. So my -3 is my start. So with that, I am going to go to the point -3 on the y-axis. So from the origin, I'm going to go down 3 points. Fill it in. Now from here, I'm going to use the slope. So the number that is attached to x. Okay, the number on top is -2, so I'm going down 2. Number on the bottom is positive 3, so I'm going right 3. So from my blue dot, I'm going to go down 2 and then right 3. Fill that in. I'm kind of running out of graph on the right-hand side, so I'm going to go the opposite direction. So I'm going to go up 2, left 3. Once I have a few dots, I'm going to go ahead and grab my straight edge. And I'm going to connect and extend. Draw arrows, since I know this thing goes on forever. And then label it, just as you had the equation. So y equals -3 minus 2/3 x. Okay, I'm going to do the exact same thing with the second equation. So I'll go back to the original, and now I'm going to take the 5x minus 3y equals -12. And I'm going to run through the exact same process. So there's my green equation. And the process is identical. So I'm going to move the x. Well, it's a positive 5x, so I'm going to subtract it. I cannot include it with the -12, so I am not going to put it underneath the -12. I know that 5x minus 5x is gone. Drop everything else. Make sure you bring that negative sign with the 3, the negative with the 12, and the negative with the 5x. Now from here, let's get rid of that -3. So the number that is currently being multiplied to the y. I know that -3 divided by -3 is 1y. All right, -12 divided by -3. Ooh, that's positive 4. -5 divided by -3. Well, there's nothing I could do with the 5 and the 3, but I do know that a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So I'm going to turn it into positive 5/3 x. Okay, here is my green equation. This is the one I'm going to graph. The start is the number that has no variable attached to it. So I'm going to go to my y-axis, and I'm going to go up to 4. And I'm going to plot that point. Then, back to the equation. My slope, well, they're both positive. So I'm going to go up 5, and I'm going to go right 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Fill in the dot. Now, the point of me doing this was to figure out where the lines actually intersected each other. However, if I keep going up to the right, I'm running away from the blue line, and I don't want to do that. So I think I'm going to do the opposite direction now. So I'm going to go down 5, left 3. Oh, there we go. Just found the point of intersection. Now, straight edge, connect the dots, and extend. Draw my arrows, because this thing does go on forever. And label the graph. So y equals the exact thing I wrote down, 4 plus 5/3 x. Last thing, identify the solution. Now, I'm going to identify it in red. So it is the point where the two graphs intersect each other. Now, I know what this answer better be because I already found it. I found it algebraically over here. So it's highlighted it in yellow. I know it should be -3, -1. Well, take a look at the graph. It is -3, -1 because it is left 3 units and down 1. So my solution as a point is -3, -1. It needs to match the other solution of -3, -1. Since all we did was solve the exact same question, we just did it a couple of different ways. Now, as you're going through these types of problems, if the answers don't match and it's the same question, you made a mistake somewhere. The answers have to match. It's the same question.